Good evening and welcome to MCFC 9320 PUBcast. Tonight we've got Stan the Invisible Man somewhere, Anne-Marie, Paddy, but honestly, I'm genuinely delighted to have Jay with us tonight. For anybody who doesn't know Jay's the one who absolute ripped talk shite a new one in the week, mate. Good evening, everybody into the chat as well. I'll get through your comments and that as we're going along. Jay, what has it been a mad sort of like feud in the land of social media since you ripped Peroxide and Jim White and Ewan?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Andy. I was a little bit overwhelmed and a bit blown away by the positive response. I mean, obviously not all of it was positive. There's a few rags and bitters amongst it all, which is fair play. I love all that, fair game. But yeah, it was. Some of the positive things from the Blues just shows how genuinely pissed off we all are with it. Oh, that's the problem. It's just, I don't mind people having a go at us for various things, but it's getting to the point now of tedium. We know what's potentially coming or not, whichever way it goes. Let's just wait and see, and let's just enjoy what City are serving up, and potentially with Liverpool now it could be as good as a final few weeks as we've ever seen in the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. But I still back us despite yesterday. We'll get into the game shortly. Yesterday, I don't know about. We've not really spoke about even Anne-Marie and Paddy. We have a WhatsApp group and stuff like that. But I just felt yesterday we could have been, and I might be talking bubbles. I thought we could have been 3-4 down at half time. I just thought it wasn't at the races. Only for Raheem Sterling. He could have walked off with a hat-trick at half time. That the other lad the
Jackson.
I just for me the turning point was Bernardo coming on. I thought up until then we was just plodding around. I thought Rodri did okay, to be fair, but the rest was just not.
I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I think the minute you see Foden out wide, the way he's been playing, you just feel as though. I mean, I get you. We've got to get De Bruyne in there, but it just felt as though that Foden's brilliance in those little pockets was just nullified. And
for me, Jay, I kind of think if we're going to play that, we need to put Alvarez out on the wing and put Foden in the middle because. Alvarez, don't get me wrong, I love Alvarez and he works hard, but he loses the ball a lot. And if you've got someone like Foden in there, he doesn't lose the ball as easily. And I think that's one of the key things I would have done yesterday. But everything was too slow.
Yeah, it was slow. It was one of them games, wasn't it, where you felt as though we were slow.
Yeah. And I'd give Aki a shout out yesterday. I thought Aki did okay.
Yeah, he's probably our best player.
Yeah, do you know something though? On reflection, I thought we just didn't play well collectively. There was one or two individual performances what was okay. Like just behind me in the first half when Ederson had a bit of a howler early doors. We're like, oh, Ederson's back to being Ederson. And then Ederson, listen, he's always going to make a clang because for me, he gets bored in matches and he just has a bit of a brain fart and then he's all right. But he pulled us out of it a little bit yesterday. We'll talk about the potential penalties and stuff like that as we go on. But yeah, I just thought Rodri was okay. Foden, it's quite clearly wasted on the right hand side. I don't expect De Bruyne to have a 10 out of 10 every game, but it was below par, Stan, wasn't he, yesterday? Stan, can we hear you? Stan?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to restart everything and start again. I don't know what happened before. That was shocking feedback. Like some of the shocking feedback I saw on Twitter. The robots have had a bit of an iffy day. We had enough chances there to win about 15 matches. We're all knocked, not because we were lucky to get a draw. We should have won it, and we all know it deep down. We had enough chances. We had enough quality chances, and we're all knocked because we didn't sack him. You throw on top of that a refereeing performance again that was bordering drivel. You know, the kick in the shin, the penalties, all that lot. It all adds up, and that's what gets us even more frustrated. You know, I've never been one of those that, we shouldn't have to rely on a referee. We're not relying on a referee. We expect a level of competence. And when that falls, you get narked. So we've got narked because we've missed chances, and we've got narked because we've got a clown running the show. But apart from that, it was all right, and we got a draw.
I think the thing is, mate, Stan, is that I think we could all see though that we were too open in the first half. They got at us too easily. When there was a transition or we lost the ball, they were at us straight, and that's when we're poor. Teams really get at us, and I thought Chelsea did it in the first half really well, and I don't think we helped ourselves at all the way we set up, in my opinion.
It's the question: do we actually learn lessons?
I don't know. I'm sure they do because we're the best side in the world, but you know what I mean? It's just we just didn't collectively play well that first 45. I think if we'd have played the second half but as consistently, we'd have won the game probably. But first half we were poor.
But we're playing Chelsea. We should, in my opinion, be putting out our strongest team. John Stones should have been in that team yesterday, not Akanji.
Yeah,
but Akanji's far too slow.
Memory, right?
We don't know how fit Stones is, though, is he? Can he play 2 games in a few days?
And that is it. You know, was Stones sort of like not starting because he's been out a while, and we've seen a little bit of after effects, Paddy, as well, aren't we? In the respect of KDB. Like I said, KDB's not going to be a 10 out of 10 every match. He's had a long layoff. Are we expecting a bit too much from him too soon because he's had some, absolutely brilliant performances since he's come back? There's got to be that level where there's going to be a bit of a before we go again. I just felt yesterday Listen, I think it's the weather as well. I'm not blaming the weather.
Don't even go there, Andy. Behave, Klopp. What are you saying?
No, I mean, yesterday it just felt that the weather was shit. I was just slept through 3 weeks old, and then I was served up that.
It's not that. I tell you what. The one thing,
easy for you to say, Stan.
Go on.
Go on, Stan. Try again.
It's like having Norman Collier on board here. What's going on, Stan?
Go on, Stan.
Well, I'm surprised Pep played him.
Who's Stone? Who?
Can you hear me all right?
You're frozen for that long. I forgot what the question was now, mate.
Stan's been frozen that long. He's commenting.
Was it about Haaland playing?
No, we've not discussed Haaland yet, mate.
It's the weather.
You've not been frozen for 20 minutes.
It's the weather. It's cold.
No. Listen,
it's cold. It's that cold there, Jay. Oh. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, Stan, we can hear you. We could do that anyway. Stan, we'll come on.
And the thing with Erling, I would have thought, I don't know, maybe they should have considered his grandma dying in the week.
Yep.
He might have said he wants to play, but all players will always play no matter what. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just got to override him.
Yeah. I don't think you could win that, could he? If you hadn't played.
That's one thing to forget.
You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
But that's not his decision. That should have been better.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, once a player says he really wants to play, I think Pep's the kind of person who would respect that. If he felt himself that he was a bit 50-50 or something, I don't think he'd have played him. But he must have given him the right signals. Otherwise, I don't think he would have picked him personally. But
it's still top scorer in the league. Listen, everybody's going to have an off day. Collectively, we had an off day yesterday. But he's a human being at the end of the day. And like Alex saying there, maybe he wasn't mentally ready because of the family loss and stuff like that. Nobody knows at the end of the day. But, it's like what Patrick, hope you well, pal. We have a game in hand. We win that. We take a draw, even though it hurts. Yeah. So all we do instead of us going top of the league on Tuesday, when that game comes with Liverpool, we just go to Liverpool, beat them, and we're as you were. So, no issue, is it, Paddy?
No. I just think that obviously we don't know about storms could be or whatever, and you never know what's going on behind the scenes. But I know I'm like a broken record, but I find it very frustrating that opposition teams do us on the counter attack every time. It just first goal they had half a pitch. You're on Indy yesterday. Walker's like a lightning machine. But like, if you look at Walker's position, when that ball crossed the halfway line, he in the opposition box, and there's as fast as he is, he's not going to catch anyone. And as you, Suzanne, only for the bad finishing of Sterling and Jackson, we'd have been 3 or 4 little at half time. But like obviously Walker's doing that because Pep telling him to do that. But like, for the love of God, just for one match, especially against Liverpool or Arsenal or Tottenham counter-attacking teams, leave Walker on the halfway line and tell him don't pass the halfway line.
Yeah, he's quick, but he's not that quick, is he?
I don't know about yous and the guys in the chat. Anne-Marie, what really does frustrate me though is considering how good we are at football, our corners I don't think are the best. I think the organisation of our corners are the best. There's 2 examples where, for me, when the corner comes in, whack it on the edge of the 18-yard box and let Rodri have a smash of it, because I don't think there's a better striker of the ball in our club than Rodri. But we just seem to put it. We seem to sort of like be on the goal line, waiting for a drop down or something to go in. I'd like to see us a bit more creative. I
will agree with you, Andy, because
as always, go on.
No, not as always, but the goal we scored against Spurs in the cup game that won us the game, and they said that was worked on in training.
Free kick, that, not a corner.
Oh, was it a free kick? Well, but a set piece. It's the same for me. It's the same thing. It's a set piece. And I questioned during that game whether we actually practiced corners in training, because they were shocking. And we've got some big men in there, so
I personally Saturday, I think the whole crossing from wide positions, getting into wide areas, we didn't really deliver. Obviously Haaland missed the header, didn't he, towards the end, which was possibly the best chance of the game. But really, even De Bruyne from in and around that sort of that space he likes to cross it in from, even he wasn't putting him in on the money. It was just one of them days, but we still managed to get a point out of it, and that's the positives out of the game for me. We didn't give in, and maybe not. Another 5 minutes we might have snuck a winner, but we just got to move on, haven't we?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Reminded me, last night's game reminded me of the first year we won the title, and I think we drew 3-3 with Sunderland. And everyone was disappointed after the game, but the reality was it was a really important point. Instead of dropping, we still gained a point and we went on to win the league, and that's what last night's game reminded me of. We should have been winning the game, but we got the draw. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take the point and see it as a positive rather than a negative. Yeah, I was frustrated last night, but I think we'll be,
it shows you how far we've come, Anne-Marie. It shows you how far we've come. I remember that Sunderland one, and we all said at the time last year we would have lost that, but we got the draw. Now we get the draw, and we're gutted we've not got the win. And expectations do just, slowly to get higher and higher. Even us old ones, we were nervous when we were 3-0 up with 10 minutes to go.
Need another 2.
And you were happy with the 3-3 draw.
Yeah.
They were the days. Yeah. Anyhow, but yeah,
I think the trouble. Go on, sorry.
The thing for me, absolutely right, Sam. But there is now. I don't doubt if there'd have been another 10 minutes there yesterday. I know it's all if, buts, maybes, and stuff like that, but we would have gone on to win that. And again,
it should have been another 10 minutes. Where does that referee get 4 minutes from at the end of the game with the amount of time wasting Chelsea did?
Then when we didn't need it against Everton, when they was time wasting, we get 10 minutes. Listen, that's I know.
That's what it is, isn't it? You've got to win it, haven't we?
I just thought Bernardo changed the dimension so for the debate as well, Jay. And I don't know your stance on this. This whole Doku versus Grealish debate. For me, my stance is, mate, Doku is very, very good. Direct.
Yeah. He gives us nothing going back the other way. Zero, in my opinion.
He passes to the opposition. Now, that said, 12 months with Pep, I think he's got potentially to be an absolutely superstar. But when he first came into the club, the amount of abuse what Jack got was nothing short of disgusting. All City fans tweet, not all. Some City fans tweeting him with abuse, like, oh, my boy Doku's there. You get a cruise ship so he can get more time.
Yeah.
I think the only thing what Jack's going through here is a lack of confidence because he quite admittedly reads. He said himself that he reads social media and stuff like that. Surely it's got to play a part in his head. That.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, the thing is, everyone's going to have an opinion whether Doku's better in certain games. I mean, I would say personally, if Pep was to pick his best 11 for, say, a tough European away game, and everyone was fit, then Grealish would play, in my opinion. I don't think Doku would get a game, and that's the truth of it. Doku is he's sort of short, but he's on the ball, he's brilliant, but I still believe Grealish gives us more. It gives us more control of a game, whereas I don't think Doku gives us any of that. He lost the ball a couple of yesterday where he was 50-50, so he didn't even go in. I mean,
we don't play a style of football that suits Doku. He's in the fast, attacking, chaotic football. We don't play like that. We used to play like that with Sani and Sterling and stuff like that. We don't play like that anymore. It's fucking. It is a bit boring, that build up and build up and build up. Where at least when Jack is on the ball, you're not getting it off him.
No.
The only way you're going to get it off him is they foul him.
Yeah.
Like he's probably one of the most foul.
Jay, one of the sayings we have on this show, and it comes from Stan when his internet don't freeze, is we've got different keys for different locks. So things where you'll need for me anyway. I think Doku will be more effective coming off the bench, if you're chasing a game or something like that. But to start, Jack just gives you so much. Like you said before, mate, where Jack will just track back. Second nature now. He didn't when he first joined us, but that was 12 months under Pep. So, and that's what Doku, Nunes, Bavaria,
Kovacic maybe less, but because
even Kovacic, they will be going through exactly the same. So it's.
He wasn't even on the bench yesterday.
He was injured though, didn't he? Because he didn't go to didn't go to Copenhagen.
Yeah, I think he would have played, wouldn't he? I think he'd have played maybe. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, it coming off the back of Copenhagen where they were magnificent, but they played against a team who were happy to really, really sit in. Whereas Chelsea, they sort of lulled us a little bit and look for that bit where the move breaks down, then they hit us on the break quick. And if teams do that, we're susceptible, we're vulnerable. That's what it is. But that's the risk and reward that he plays, isn't it? That's how he plays it, So.
And
that's the other thing, okay. That position, that winger position, is murders.
Yeah.
Anyone who plays in that winger's position always ends up getting some form of abuse because it's an absolute murderous position to play under Pep. Don't matter whether you're Jack Grealish, Doku. Foden plays there. People don't like him playing there because he doesn't quite do it right, which is probably why he should be playing in the middle. And then you've got even Mahrez. I mean, the guy had a wonder of a left foot. and yet he didn't track back, he didn't do this, he didn't do that.
No, true.
You know, and it's that position, and it doesn't matter who you put in there. You've got to go in there and do it and do it and do it and do it. And no one's gonna get it cracked in the first year. And I think Doku's been a bit unlucky. No, but I think Doku's been a bit unlucky because Jack seems to have been injured quite a lot. So he's getting thrown in, and he may well be having minutes that he wouldn't normally have.
Yeah, possibly.
It makes no difference who plays in the wing. If he plays Doku, Bob, Jack Grealish, Silva, Foden, it makes no difference. There's going to be 2 or 3 opposition players on them all the time. And I don't care what you're not beating 2 or 3 players.
That's what I'm saying, Paddy. It's the position, it's the actual wing position and what you've got to do and what you've got to put up with that causes problems.
But that's
all those players can't struggle. They're all good players. All of them can't struggle when they go into that position. Surely to God, you know, the only remaining solution is the fact that what you have to do, and like you say, the players that you put under pressure and all this, that, and the other. It's the actual position and how it is in the team. Now he's not going to change that, Pep. So you've just got to wait for somebody to learn it.
It's not a traditional wing.
The players are static that Doku and Grealish are coming up against. Where if they were running back towards their own box, they wouldn't have the stability to stop them what they wanted to do. But they're able to go 2 and 3 up on them as it's static and our build up is slow. Like if we did a counter attack, which we rarely do, the opposition players are running towards their box. It's absolute chaos. They can't stop Doku then because then he can do his flicks and his kicks and his fancy moves. But when he's when he's receiving the ball out wide and there's 2 or 3 goes to him straight away. What's it? He's not.
And that's the problem. That's the problem. That's why Pep doesn't like it, because we're not playing against a team that comes to football. Every week, if we're lucky, we might be up a team that only has 9 men behind the ball. And I'm including Chelsea on this. You're including every team now that comes. That's why there's no space.
Well, Liverpool won't.
To be fair, Paddy, I don't think with Chelsea yesterday, you don't know what you're going to get with Chelsea because at the moment they're so unpredictable. You know, they'll get levered by somebody and then they'll go and get a great result. They didn't come yesterday for a draw or anything because it was evident.
No, they played it.
First
he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, but Anne-Marie, this point you made earlier, Davy Mack, evening pal, John Stones playing 3 games in a week, big risk that, and I absolutely agree, especially with the Stones is, you know. I
agree with it, but then we had Rico Lewis on the bench, who's better doing that inverted defender in the midfield than Akanji is.
But Pep loves Akanji for some reason. You know,
Akanji's a great player, but he's not gonna give you something in the final third that other players will, that John Stones potentially can. So against certain opposition, Akanji is perfect for that role. I think he'll probably play him in European games where he can be a bit more mobile defensively. But if you're against a team where you've got to, that role is key in breaking teams or splitting the lines like John Stones does, then he's not at that level. I think anyone can acknowledge that. But you know, it's how Pep plays. I don't think Lewis. He's got to be a centre half that goes in there. That's what he's been playing at. And if Lewis plays, then Walker doesn't play. He can't. You know. So I think he was probably the only option for the Stones role. That's the problem.
Yeah. I think it's like Stan, Paddy and Anne-Marie, we often talk about our strongest back four. Obviously, Edison, Ake, Diaz on the left side of the centre-backs, Stones and Walker. I think that is our tried and tested. And when it's that, even when Stones is not there, because everyone seems to have made, this inverted, the John Stones role now. Well, he didn't do it until...
Is Andy frozen now?
No,
yeah.
That's the best we've seen.
Thank God for that, Anne-Marie. I thought, here we go again.
We can start talking sense now. He's not here.
But while he's frozen, we just give a big shout out to City women beating Chelsea on Friday night. Great result. I think it's the first time we've beat them at Chelsea since 2016, I think.
2016, yeah. I tell you what, if you want to see a defensive performance, that was a massive. If we'd have had the women in on Saturday, we'd have won that. Never in a million years would Chelsea's gone. I'm not kidding you. Honest to God, if you've not seen it, watch it.
I love your start. I love your start. I'll remember that when the four women run out at the back and see your chops when next game.
I tell you, when I could understand it.
It puts us level on points and games, and I think even goal difference with Chelsea.
You know what got me though, Anne-Marie? I tell one thing, Jake. One thing you'll remember is that when you know all the technology is working, I do talk sense. It's just that the technology blows out with the amount of sense I talk. It can't handle it. This is why I can't go on Goldbridge. It just blows speakers. But the thing is, with the women there, it was even the BBC were doing it. City have to win by 3. And the commentator said, City need to win by 3 to go top. And it's like, no, they don't. They don't. Stop lying. And it's constant. And did you see Simon Jordan on Friday after what you'd said?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we don't really have a go at City. Bang. Straight back into it. Lasted less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
I was like...
Absolutely. The thing is with that fella, he's a narcissist, and what he can't abide is that he's watching our investors succeed at something he's failed miserably at. So it really gets stuck in his craw.
It does. That's the problem.
With all of these, though, it's just pure jealousy. There isn't any team in the Premier League that wouldn't want to be in our position.
Yeah,
it's vanity with him as well. He's the only bloke who's been like a Premier League chairman and lost money.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. Oh, he finds it. Yeah, he really struggles with it. And the fact is, he pontificates and uses big words when he's just an absolute shambles of a man. I despise him, to be honest. That's part of the reason I phoned up.
When you were using his words against him, you know, like in judo and the martial arts and all that, where you use their weight to put them flat on the back. He realised that quite quick, and then he did it with what's the kid from London? He's very, very good. The lawyer. The guy who's been on for support. Well, he was on a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Have you noticed this with Jordan? What he'll say is he'll throw in one word to try and because he threw in Enron with him, and he'll throw in one word. Then you'll hear that word, and all he's doing is trying to throw you off your track, and that's what impressed me with you. Clear off. This is what I'm saying, and this is how it's going. End of.
Yeah.
And he's there throwing his little. He's like the little weedy guy at school who's behind the bullies, and he's going, "You wanker, you wanker," you know,
causing the fight. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You know.
Well, that's what I'll be honest with you. That's one of the things that him and Jim White, they're almost like, because I remember Trevor Sinclair being on there, God bless him, because he's, you know, some of his opinions were awful, but they used to bully him. It was literally bullying. You know what I mean? They just, anyway, never mind.
I can't watch them, Jay. I used to watch them, and I just, they just like, as much as you're not opposed to get annoyed by them, they do at times make your blood boil. So I just disconnected. Any of them accounts, like Neville or character or any all the rest of them, make. I just disconnect from them because there's no point, you know.
No. I get a Paddy. I'm with you. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Everyone else said to me, "Don't listen to it," and I don't normally. I've switched off from it, but I think just that 5 minutes, it just triggered something in my brain that I'm just sick of.
Did you know that?
There, I put it up in the group for your man Matt that's his here, and he can give you an insight about how Sky TV actually works. About what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say. And I think the most recent example of that was Micah Richards. When he went first on Sky, it was we this and we that. And now it's Manchester City, and it's Manchester City, and it's, where the fucking we go?
And now is Stan, I just want to make it clear to everyone, I am not in Stan's basement with my internet going off. And that's the first time it ever happened. That But the point on Micah Richards there, Paddy, he's gone one further now. His catchphrase is, everybody knows I'm an Arsenal fan.
Yeah. He's totally disassociated himself.
Yeah, totally. And I forgot what I was going to say before my internet disappeared.
Yeah, you look at how many people who have kind of prostituted themselves to get somewhere. That Goldbridge fella on the Talk Sport, a few City fan accounts I could mention, but I won't. They sold their soul just to get in along. Like there used to be a fella on that show the fans would be on, and he would sit beside the Liverpool fans and Man United fans, and he'd let them tear us to pieces. He wouldn't answer back.
I'll tell you what, I've watched that and I've thought to myself, how can you sit there and let Scousers and United fans take the piss out of you? I wouldn't have lasted 2 minutes of them.
And then I couldn't have said anymore. Then Jay Flaherty turned that off as well.
Yeah.
Because like, you want somebody like yourself who's articulate and able to bite back, where he'd sat there and fucking lapped it up, all because he wanted to get places.
Yeah, forget that. No,
I'll tell you what, the same man who now commentates on some games on Sky.
Who's that? Which one?
Kyle Walker.
Oh, the lad who was a City, who was this.
Did anyone see that today? Did anyone see that today with United's second goal when Garnacho's leathered it and it hit Oyland's chest and gone in? And Neville has turned around and said, that's a very difficult skill. Now, I'll be honest with you, when we used to train when we were younger, and we'd be doing volleys and we'd be, keepy uppers, and you'd be trying to hit the bar from wherever, and you're doing all your little bits and bobs, so you do your training, you do your runs and all that. I don't ever remember spending 10 minutes every session trying to whack the ball against my mate's chest so he could do a little thing like that and go in. Must be a better.
You obviously not played for the right teams, mate.
Yeah, just what
they did in better. No wonder they missed out with the pro.
Martin says, can someone help me understand some of our fans? I hate saying this, but when did we get relegated? Absolutely. I think it comes back to what you said earlier, Stan, about how far we've come, because I don't know what your spin on it is, Jay. Obviously, you don't have to answer in case you lose them thousands of followers you've gained. But do you think some of our fans are just spoilt now and a little bit, the expectations are too...
I mean, I think the thing is, Andy, I think, I'm not going to be a massive hypocrite here because people will know what I'm like. I'm very much, I watch City with a passion and I become reactionary to it, probably a bit too reactionary. Some people can watch a game and let it just slide over them and be objective about it, but I just get I get a bit intense with it, and I can understand it. If all you've known is success, where do your levels go? My lad's 21, he's a gormless little get, but all he's known is success. 21 years, he's known nothing other than really success. He was at the QPR game when Aguero scored. He was 10, 11 then. And it's just been continual since then. So he doesn't really understand what we've been through.
No, it's just like...
His comment that was on here tonight, the fella says, oh, thanks very much, City, for ruining my 24th birthday.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Jesus,
I don't remember having a memorable birthday until me whatever 40 odd. I think. Fucking hell.
I remember at Main Road. My mum and dad got my name, shouted out at the tannoy. Congratulations, 18-year-old today, John. Hey, and we won 2-0. You don't need all the money in the world to celebrate your 18th. It's only if you're a good one. God shines on the good ones.
By the way, happy 21st birthday, mate. I hope you enjoyed it apart from City aside, buddy. It's just with some of the things what we see now, Jay. Things like Doku. Doku was a flavour of the month. Doku's getting a bit of a grief now. I'm seeing things like I think Pep took us as far as he can go, and Haaland, we should sell Haaland. I see all this. I know we don't have to reply to it or engaging it in social media, but it's there, and now people have the facility to act whoever it is now. So it does get back to them. It's a little bit embarrassing sometimes.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the thing is, you could say that about any set of fans. If you know, all you have to do is flick on not for you, but the following. You know, you just get reactionary. That's what Twitter is about. It's the polarization of everyone's opinions. You either hate someone or love someone. There's no, all right, he played all right, but that's how people react nowadays. But level-headed people, they'll have a moan, but they realise how lucky we are to be watching this, man. And let me tell you, that's one draw. What, we won 10, 11 on the trot and then drew?
12
15 game on. In the Telegraph today, Chelsea have got the blueprint to beat City. We're on a 15-match unbeaten run. That blueprint's doing really well.
Yeah.
They've got the blueprint to beat us, what, with 2 draws?
Well, no. While we're on a 15-match unbeaten run, I'm not sure whether anyone's read this blueprint, or if they have, they've not understood it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I think, let's be fair, there are some managers that do have a bit of I think Pochettino is one of them managers who has got something on Pep. He knows how to play against one of Pep's teams. He's done it for Tottenham. So, you know, there are certain managers who he not struggles against, that's not right, but who potentially can cause us problems. And they did it yesterday. Fair play to him.
Be fair, though, Jay. Everyone at Tottenham's managed it against us. I don't think it's the manager. I just think it's the club.
Yeah.
I'm very excited it where you do get clubs where, you know, or managers who do have that Indian sign over it.
No, we talked about this last week or the week before. Middlesbrough were always the team that were a real bogey team for us. We could never beat them.
Yeah.
And it happens. But you know, we get over it and we'll move on. You know, we've already broken the hoodoo against Tottenham now by beating them at their place in the FA Cup. You just you know, you move on, and you that's all part of learning and developing.
So I mean, the thing is, let's all be realistic now. We're sat here a bit pissed off that we've drawn, but we're on course for another treble. Just repeat that to yourselves. Potentially another treble, a double treble, four titles on the trot. No wonder the fans are bitter. The other fans.
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, Jay, I predicted we would win the treble again after our first match against Burnley, mate. You know, and you have to be optimistic sometimes. Like yesterday, I was disappointed yesterday that I actually won some money off William Hill because City didn't win. I always do reverse psychology, mate, where I'll bet against City. So I love losing money with William Hill. But yesterday, I was like, fuck. You know, I was embarrassed that I'd won some money. It's like
every cloud.
Yeah, But, you know, like Davy Mack says, when people are going on about good runs, have we beaten any of the top 5 in the league this season?
That's where we're struggling. That's where the difference is this year. Whereas previous seasons, in the bigger games, we've always, all right, maybe not away at Anfield apart from when we've been COVID, but you know, we've always managed to win them games. Now we've been beaten by Arsenal, we've drawn away at Chelsea, Liverpool have got a draw at our place. So these are the games ordinarily we would have won a couple of them, and that's where we're probably struggling a little bit, and that's why where we are. I
know we can't always blame injuries and stuff like that, but I cannot remember a season like we've had, you know, through injuries and stuff like that. So through all these bad times where we've got draws. Yeah, okay, Arsenal beat us. You know, there's arguments that Villa beat us. But I've never known a season like it. So if we're getting draws against the Chelseas, you know, the Liverpools, etc., the Spurs, you'd expect it to change a little bit now with full strength. And I think it's made it disappointed because of a draw yesterday. But for me, flip it round, the positive was we could have been beat there, but we salvaged the draw, and it's not going to be like that. We've just come off the back of a 12 match winning, you know, spree, so it's not all bad.
I mean, I think the thing is definitely before the. Go on, sorry, Paddy.
We did lose to Arsenal. We did lose to Villa. We drew about 4 or 5 games. We went to the World Club Cup, coming back expecting 10 points behind. we won on Tuesday night and we're going second, 1 point behind Liverpool, and we're in fucking crisis. People need to get a grip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just seeing the same things where Liverpool at Anfield, if we defend like we did in the first 45, we could be 3 or 4 down. That's the problem.
Yeah.
We're up against, I think we're all getting a bit like Liverpool do. A draw feels like a defeat when you're up against a team that are winning as regularly as Liverpool do, and they feel the same about us, and Arsenal are in there. So I think that's the problem. A point, even though it was welcome in the end, it feels like you're losing ground without winning, and that's the quality of the league, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
hang
on, Stan, hang on a minute. Anne-Marie, Charlie says it's not easy. Doku had 2 players man marking him, but the same can be said about Grealish, or anybody who plays out on the wing.
I know, but I think yesterday it was quite evident that everything was going through and down Doku's side, and we weren't making use of all the space that Foden had on the right-hand side. Foden was stuck out on the wing for most of that game, and nobody seemed to pass to him the same way as we were passing to Doku.
Well,
and I think
I thought Chilwell destroyed Foden.
I tell you what's always
had a very bad Chilwell.
I tell you what's always a bit of an head scratcher for me. The amount of times Haaland has only got one centre back at the side of him. Why don't we use that long ball now and again rather than that perfect passing we do? Because we've seen Haaland can just brush anyone aside. You knock a ball over the top there, and the chances are he's going to be putting that ball in the back of the net. I consider that an asset more than not an asset at times. Especially in tight games, let's think a little bit different and bang a ball over the top. It doesn't have to be pretty ticky-tack football all the time.
I think the thing when you do
that, that's a problem, Andy.
Kevin De Bruyne is the only one that has the bravery to do that, because they're all scared of Pep. Like, if you look at Haaland's goal last week on the last podcast, that his second goal when Haaland played him in and he ran in and goal, he was doing that week in and week out in Germany. He doing it in the Premiership because nobody looks to find them. Like if Everton knocked that ball over to say it was Brentford, was it, when your man ran in again half the pitch again and scored the first goal against us? Like if Everton sees they have pushed up, but you see the problem we have is nobody pushes up against us. It's always a low block, so we have to start
100%.
And so like that's not available to us.
Yeah, 50p and Evening Blues. And I think it's just Stan who's contagious tonight.
No, Paddy's spot on there. If you could get the ball through to Haaland, like you were saying, like that long ball, when on Saturday could he do it? Because people are just sat there 9 men behind the ball. You can't get in there.
I think that's discrediting Chelsea a little bit. I thought they came to get something.
Far from it. No, far from it. Far from it.
Thing is,
they played on the break.
If we don't move the ball quick enough, it just it gives teams time to. And what we normally do is that's when we use Doku, because that then creates the space on the other side. But like you say, Anne-Marie, we didn't move that ball across the pitch quick enough. So you go to Doku and normally it comes then into midfield, then it's out to Foden, then it's quicker, and it never got any momentum going with it really. And that's when De Bruyne has them spaces where he can then whip them balls in. But it just felt a bit stodgy. But like you say, fair play to Chelsea with the way they defended. Which
is this your mate trying to set you up?
Why? Well, who's this? Thoughts on the way? Yeah, he's a yeah. You know what it is?
I could gauge somebody was trying to set you up there, mate.
Oh, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, it'd probably be my son, to be honest. That's the kind of juvenile humour that he's capable of. That
because on this show, Stan and Anne-Marie, they're huge City women followers. Tell you what, they're City women would have probably beat Chelsea yesterday. Chelsea man.
if only somebody had a blackout, we could have talked about it.
What's that, Marie?
I said we did have this conversation when you went off that we could have put City women's defence in and they might have done better yesterday.
Would have done better.
Well, would have, yes.
EH says midfield is problem with defence, not Doku. Listen, I think we can read too much into it because if we'd have won yesterday, nobody would be having a discussion about Doku, really, would they?
I think the thing is, like you say, he's young. His final ball is just not quite there. But Grealish went through the same. It's a tough one for a winger who naturally wants to get past players. He's got to change his game for Pep. He's got to come back inside, recycle the ball. Take a couple of players out, then find space in midfield. It's a tough ask for him. But what you do expect is if there's a 50-50 to be won, he wins it. And if there's if you've got to track your player back, you've got to do it. And he's not doing those things. That's the bit that's letting him down for me.
I agree. It looks like you've got a fan club there, mate. Somebody's changed the name to Salad Bat Fan.
Seriously, do you know what I mean? Sorry, lads. It's obviously brought the riffraff into the discussion.
No, that's not. Hey, take that as a compliment, mate. Even going back to, I sort of like briefly come back in after me. I put 50p in the meter. The stuff what's been, since you're having the melting them down on Talk Shy. It's just been, I see things on my feed where people are always retweeting, stuff what you did on Talk Shy. So it's not, people are not just sort of like in Salad Bap or anything like that. People are genuinely appreciative of somebody going on there, eloquently putting them into the place and stuff like that. Because and I think one of the first things I tweeted to you, mate, and I genuinely meant it. I always say nobody speaks for me. Nobody. I speak for myself.
Yeah.
But I couldn't have anybody who spoke pretty much word for word for me, because that's something what needed at that time.
I appreciate that, and I think that's the thing. I think the reason it resonated was very like you. We all sit there and listen to these radio shows and you feel as though they get callers on just effectively to try and show them up and take the piss out of them, really. And I can't be arsed with that either. If people's points are valid irrespective of how they say them. And I just felt it's time that somebody actually, defended the club a little bit, because we're too easy a target now. Too easy. It's starting to piss people off.
Don't forget as well, they put opportunities on, don't they, to ring up and start setting the agenda.
Just saying, Jay, the one thing I was surprised about, they actually give you that much airtime.
Yeah.
Normally it's like, next call. And when Jim White said something about, I'm reading it in front of me, and
I laughed.
I think your first line was something like, did it take you 5 minutes to script this? And it is just like that. At one point, Danny Murphy was sort of like agreed with you, and then he started to edge away a little bit because there was probably something in his earpiece going, you can't agree with people.
Yeah. I think we've spotted it with, like you say, when you remember when Mike Summerwood was on after the Derby day? Was it when Rooney scored the overhead?
Yeah.
And he said, we're going to come here and we're going to beat these lot. And he never got a sniff again. And we beat them 6-1 the year after, I think we did.
Yeah, 8 months later. Boom.
Yeah. So I mean that's quite evident. He was speaking from a blue heart, and they didn't like it. That's not what it's about for him, is it? And this is what United, Liverpool, Arsenal fans, they don't see it because they're in it. But the bias, I mean, Jamie Carragher, I mean, honestly, it's like listening to a fan channel. It makes you feel physically sick listening to that.
He shouldn't be allowed to commentate on any of our games.
No, or United's.
Yeah.
He shouldn't even be on it anyway because of his conduct off it anyway. Spitting at somebody. But you get people like Mike Summerby, for speaking facts, they don't invite him back on. But and I think what Matt Letizia said about Carragher as well. Did you hear? He also Carragher also phoned Letizia up, having a bit of a pop at him. Why are you bringing it up again? And it was like, and Letizia said in this interview, he went, well, why shouldn't I bring it up again? You know, you can't go around doing stuff like that. And it's like, so there's no doubt about it. Are you a believer, though, Jay, about this? There is a bias of the Red Cartel and Spurs.
No, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, don't forget, none of us are naive enough to, this is one of the things that's always thrown against us. We haven't got any fans worldwide. We haven't got people, and I get all that. We're not going to have the levels of United and Liverpool currently, United and Liverpool, but so they're appealing to their audience. I get all that, but there has to be a level of balance somewhere along the line, and everyone seems to have lost it totally. But like you say, it's been scripted by some behind the desk Johnny who's a United or Liverpool or Arsenal fan, and what they're going to do. If I was doing the scripts, you can imagine what I'd be writing.
No, I tell you what, Jay, while I remember, Andy, sorry to jump in, there's one thing here about Simon Jordan. A few years ago, I got his autobiography. It was in the charity shop, 50p. I thought, I'll have a little look at this, because I was interested in how he made money on that mobile phone.
Yeah.
Now, there was a really curious bit about it. He got 80 million for that. And at one point, he said that the deal may well have fell through because he didn't have the rights for the software that allowed him to make that amount of money on what he was doing on selling mobile phones. And he never really addressed whether he actually did get the image, not the image rights, the copyright, the intellectual copyright of it, or not. And I've often wondered if anyone can shed any light on that, if anyone's listening and they know Jordan inside out.
No,
he must have cleared it, otherwise he's up for massive fraud. But he didn't actually come out in the book and say it. So I want to nail this down, because stuff like this annoys me. When you've got a loose end.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Have you tried looking it up online, Stan?
Yeah.
I haven't got the book. I just can't find it at the moment.
I was going to say, if he's still got it.
As Jay said on the radio, they all sit in their ivory towers and they pass judgment on Man City. Do
you know what? I might ring them up.
2 seconds.
I might ring them up saying that I want to talk about Liverpool being the greatest football team ever and how everything they do is perfect.
Liverpool hacked our system.
Yeah.
Arsenal sacked George Graham from Bonds. Man United's Alex Ferguson wouldn't speak to the BBC because they exposed his son as a corrupt agent.
Yeah.
There's none of them without dirty hands. Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United fans, do they seriously think and believe wholeheartedly that their owners, the FSG of Liverpool, have never done a shady deal?
Well, I mean, Liverpool are sponsored by Standard Chartered, who have actually been found guilty of laundering money and arms dealing, haven't they? So,
2 billion. Get your head around that. 2 billion in fines. How much have they laundered to get a fine that massive? Well, anyway, what I might do though is ring them up. I'll ring TalkSport up and say that Liverpool are the greatest team ever. We've got John. We're not Stan on the phone line. He's a big Liverpool fan here. Jordan, did you actually ever get that copyright sorted or not? Or are you a massive fraud?
It's on a 5-second delay, mate. You won't get away with it.
Yeah, you'll be.
It's not. I wouldn't. I know that. But the thing is, it'd be the silence on the air for about 15 seconds would be beautiful. It's like, we got somebody who's gone off it.
There's 19 other teams in that Premiership, and every last one of them would swap what we have. Like, what we have is not going to last forever. Like, when Pep goes, there's going to be kind of a bit of decline, I imagine. But there's not one. Like, if you think of what the club did for East Manchester and the CFG group and stuff like that, there's not one other fan that wouldn't give their right arm to be in our position.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, they'll all point towards all the things that they want to point to now. But like you say, hypothetically, they would all accept it. And in fact, they've all asked for it anyway. The Liverpool have asked for it. United fans have been begging for it. Qatari money. I mean, let's be fair. The thing is now, what the hypocrisy of it is, this is a Premier League. This is a product that's been sent to every corner of the globe. It's relied on, everything that's been built around those clubs has relied on a worldwide appeal. And the minute we get an investor from part of that world, they're all of a sudden seen as dodgy. Now, I find it amazing that the association is between the Middle East and dirty money and oil money and shady deal. I don't know where people get this from. It's an inherent, I think there's something inherent. I believe Simon Jordan to be a bit of a little Englander with a bit of a racist angle on it, to be honest. That's my own opinion. But, I can never prove that. But
I think that's a pertinent point, Jay, to be fair, because, listen, they started to have a go at Newcastle as well.
Yeah.
What colour is theirs? And there's only one journalist who's had the balls to come out and say that, and that was Martin Samuel. And I believe he got a bit of a reprimanded off his newspaper for coming out with that.
It's an interesting old fact, though, isn't it? Because we're playing in Barclays Premier League. Yeah. Unless I'm very much mistaken, Barclays were pretty deep in the shit not that long ago, and I'm just recalling who actually bailed them out.
Sheikh Mansour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so why we sat in? It just baffles me.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, the thing is, Middle Eastern money underpins a hell of a lot of the infrastructure of the whole of this country. People just don't realise it. You know what I mean? It's not a single investment in Manchester City Football Club, and that's it. They're worldwide. Everything. The business owners throughout the world. This is not, they're not playing games here. This is why they've created the CFG. Now, the thing is, now the CFG is being held. Why should everyone have multi-club ownership? And I do to an understandable level, but I didn't see anybody moaning about Watford and Udinese because they had a very similar setup. Nobody bothered about that.
United and Royal Antwerp years ago.
Isn't there a slightly different aspect to it now, though, with regards to Champions League football going forward with Girona? And I think United have a similar issue with I'm not sure whether it's Lazio, because is Radcliffe involved in
Ashton United? It is.
No, it's not. It's Radcliffe's got shares in some other European club, and it's the same issue.
Rennes or something
like that. French club.
Yeah. I can't remember who it is, but but
the thing is, why shouldn't we get the fruits of it? Because we've invested heavily into all these different clubs. So if one of these players of these clubs, what we've invested in, we want to take.
No, it's not that, Andy. It's down to the fact that if Girona have a better season than us, they'll get the Champions League spot over us.
No,
they won't. They won't. 100% they won't.
100% they won't.
I know there's talk of that, Anne-Marie, but that
England. No, England have got the top spot, and then Spain. So it'll be the English clubs that will get the top spot. There was an article earlier, though, this week about Troyes and how in the second division and how hard done by they're being. But this journalist, I think it was Matt Slater, was carrying on about this, forgetting that a fine established club that were actually established in about 1985 had never really been in the first division until we got them in there. Then they came down. Then Savio went to there. They didn't want him. Not anyone else. They didn't want him. So they moved him over to PSV. Then he came back. They didn't want him again. He's got to Girona. And now they're going to be getting something like 30, 40 million for the player that's never set foot on the pitch. To me, that's unbelievable business.
That itself generates all that revenue.
Yeah.
And that's it. Listen, we can say for me, it just boils down to jealousy and racism. Because I had a discussion with an Arsenal fan. I think if he watches the channel, I won't name him for namesake. So I was having a private DM with him about what he kept calling oil money, oil clubs, stuff like that. And by the time near the end of the conversation, I dragged it out of him, and he basically said, "There's nothing up with our owners because they're American, they're not Arabs." And I went, Bingo, I've dragged it out of you. It's down to racism. Who's your stadium sponsor? Emirates. Who's your shirt sponsors and stuff like that? Yeah, but our owner's an American, not an Arab. And it's like, that is the root of the problem.
Thank God Americans don't interfere with anything in the world and don't cause any instability anywhere in the world. And before anyone says anything, but they're not run by the government of America. No, who do you think supplies all the stuff that goes on around the world? It's the guys that run the businesses, and those businesses are the men who are running these clubs. So, I'm not having it.
As usual, Jay, with the Premier League being a product that's sold all over the world, when you have the chairman of that product coming out and verbally stating that if Man City won it for a fourth year in a row, it'll be very bad for the Premiership.
Where'd you go?
That influences them. In my opinion, I think that influences referees' decisions. Then the Casado should have been sent off. Should have been.
I mean, I think
for fair play to stop players or clubs going out of business, and you're allowed to lose 105 million or something over 3 years. So surely they got Man United are losing money because they're 1.16 billion in debt.
But it's organic, though. Don't forget, Paddy. It's organic, Paddy. Don't worry about it. We're not on that level of Liverpool and United because we've not done it organically. What happened with United and Liverpool is they magically sprouted this wonderful football club from nowhere, had no help from anyone, had no assistance from anyone, didn't rely on any injection of cash. They just appeared, played all the young players, never bought anyone, and have all of a sudden become world famous. It's a crop of it.
It's funny because just before that, just in the 50s, they've been in the second division for about 8 years. And they've been knocked out of the cup by Worcester in the FA Cup, Worcester. And then they went out and bought 2 players for the same amount of money that we did, despite us being in the FA Cup final for 2 years running, 4 years earlier.
That's correct.
It's that magical Scotty road where all these Egyptian, Scottish people who can play for other countries were all born and bred. That's before they started throwing them out of those houses so that they could expand the field. But that's another chat for another day.
To be fair, Stan,
all they have to do is Google why they're called the Rags.
Well, yeah.
No, to find out why they're called the Rags.
Stan, they're all born and inbred as well, to be fair.
Born and bred?
Born and bred. Right, so let's get back onto football. We've got, I consider this quite a huge game on Tuesday against Brentford. Yes, we should dispatch them quite easily, but football doesn't work out that way. I don't think Pep will be flustered. I don't think the players will be flustered.
No,
they will be too shits about what's being said in the media and stuff like that. Are we going to get back on track on Tuesday, Jay?
Well, I think we will. I mean, it's like anything. If there's a little bit of a backward step, that the next game they'll just step up to the plate. They've done it since Pep arrived, apart maybe his first season out of that. But we every trust in them. I've got every belief that they'll beat Brentford on Tuesday, close it to 1 point, and we'll go on another 12, 13 game run. Who knows?
Totally, Anne-Marie.
I would 100% agree with that from Jay. I think we'll have a good win on Tuesday, and we'll just carry on from there.
Stan, I'm going to ask you a question.
He'll sit down with it.
Be all right for next week, because you know me about a week behind.
That's all. I think I'd rather predict what Pep's doing. He'll sit down with him on Monday morning, won't he? Go through the game. He'll look at the underlying figures and what happened, and he'll turn around to Haaland and just say, "Listen, you big knobhead, that big white round, that big white thing there, got the goal, put the ball in it, that's all we want you to do." And he'll go through them, taking the mickey out of all of them as you do. Kyle, Sterling's got no left foot. Why did you try and get the ball over there? All those sort of things. And remind them, we're not a rubbish football club. We're not a rubbish football team. Now and again, you have those days that no matter what you do, you will not put the ball in the net. You'll have other days where you go out and you win 6, 7, 8-0. That's football. And unless you lose sight of what the process is, you won't go far wrong. And if there's one guy who doesn't seem to be that bothered, even if we get beat, because he knows the process and how it works, it's Pep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why we bounce back so fast. He'll see a couple of little things that need tinkering with and go, that didn't quite work, that didn't quite work. Out come the keys, out come the spanners, right, boof, and away you go. Because that is the way we're going, whether anyone likes it or not.
Stan, so is that a yes or a no?
So I don't know.
So Brentford to win 2-0.
I'm on the fence.
Paddy?
I'm on the fence.
You will be, don't shut up, Paddy.
If you read the interview that Diaz give about people making noise about Man City,
thank you, Charlie.
How they use that as fuel, I imagine Brentford will get the backlash off it on Tuesday night. The only fear I have around Tuesday night is the counter-attack again, the transition, they call it now. Fucking, they keep changing these football terms, you know what I mean? Counter-attack, transition, this, that, whatever. And then you read in the paper then, Sam Lee, Chelsea have given the Premiership a blueprint. They beat Man City because we drew a match.
Yeah.
It's pathetic.
They're desperate. Yeah, they're desperate, aren't they?
Right. Anybody else got anything before we skedaddle?
No, just obviously, I hope Roy Hodgson's all right. I don't know that I read it somewhere that he's going to step down as Palace manager.
Yeah. He's still in hospital.
And so I just hope he's all right because he is a proper gentleman of football.
He is, and not only that, Crystal Palace as well. You know, they're really worried by saying that they're ready to replace him while he was still in the ambulance going to the hospital.
Yeah.
No, it's actually true that. It's true. No,
that's a bit harsh, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right. Jay, thanks for joining us, mate. It's been an absolute blast. Hopefully, you'll come back and join us again soon.
Absolutely, much appreciated, guys. Good to speak to you.
Anne-Marie, thank you as always. Paddy, thank you as always. Invisible man Stan. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, if you're free, Stan, it's 2024 now, pal, by the way.
Yeah, and as always,
nothing to me.
Get off your neighbour's internet.
As always, thank you to everybody in the chat for all the contribution and stuff like that. We love the interaction. So we will do it all again next week. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Thanks, everyone.
Take it easy. Good to see you guys.